Joe Burrow is banged up.
Yes.
Jaden Daniels is banged up. Justin Fields is banged up. What is it with all these quarterbacks dropping like flies?
Well, actually, that's part of my other takeaway. So we'll do this topic, and then we'll go back to the topic that we originally planned, because that was part of my other takeaways from week 2, is that in the NFL last year, I believe it was like 26 or 27 something teams or so used a backup quarterback. I think there was a total of like 65 or 70 quarterbacks that played a snap last year in the NFL. We can talk about receivers all we want. We can talk about offensive line and defensive lines all we want. The 3 most positions in the NFL to build a franchise around are number 1, quarterback, number 2, backup quarterback, and number 3, kicker.
Yeah. Well, kicker is definitely for sure, because Dallas would not have won that game against the Giants without Brandon Aubrey.
That's what I'm saying. So when you think about the most valuable positions in football, the most valuable investment is quarterback. And the Eagles have talked about this a lot, even back in the day when they had Carson Wentz and Nick Foles. And then it was obviously, Jalen Hurts and Nick Foles. And then it was Jalen Hurts and, Gardner Minshew, excuse me. And now, it's Jalen Hurts and Tanner McKee, and Kenny Pickett was there last year. Investing in the backup quarterback, like Kansas City has Gardner Minshew now, in case something were to happen to Patrick Mahomes. I don't know how much of a drop. I mean, obviously it's a big drop off, but like Jake Browning could play. We saw Carson Wentz at the end of last year. I believe he was with the Rams that last game of the year. Or no, that was 2 years ago. I'm sorry. Last year was with the Kansas City as a backup. He's been around good play callers. Who knows? Maybe Carson Wentz could play with Kevin O'Connell, who's a quarterback whisperer.
Yeah. That is true. Yes. The most important position in football are the fans. Ask the Browns. Yes.
No, actually, the most important position is quarterback, because the fans don't matter if you have a shit quarterback play. You can ask the Browns about that.
Oh, God. I don't want Grandpa Joe starting this week. But I also don't want Dylan Gabriel getting killed by Michael Parsons. And
so that was my other takeaway, by the way, is I've never seen a Browns team play that bad in my life. I was very disappointed by the Browns. I thought they were going to at least cover 11.5. I thought they were going to come out. I thought they were going to play well. I did not give a shit about Joe Flacco's return to Baltimore. That didn't matter to me. It was irrelevant. It was 8 years ago. These two guys are completely different. What I thought was, okay, the Ravens were coming off a very highly emotional game against the Bills. It took everything they had. They're going to come out tired. They're going to come out sloppy. The Browns' defense is really good. And guess what? They did. And then Joe Flacco decides to throw every single freaking pass he could at the line of scrimmage to either a running back or Harold Fannin, the backup tight end. What the hell was that offense about?
I don't know, but here's my biggest problem. All I've seen on social media this week following that game on Sunday is like everybody is blaming Kevin Stefanski and everybody is blaming Andrew Berry, especially after what we saw last night with Baker Mayfield and Nick Chubb. No, I am not blaming Kevin Stefanski for this at all.
So you're not blaming him for that boring design of a scheme?
No, I am not blaming Kevin Stefanski at all. He is a 2-time coach of the year. Got us into
the what? He hasn't won a playoff game as the Browns head coach, technically.
We should have won that game in Kansas City, but the Chiefs...
But you didn't, Josh. It's about winning in this league. That's why all Browns fans, I hate to say, that's why you guys are all losers. You're all, again, I rant on this every single year to you people. Oh, my God, it's Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco ain't going to win you shit.
I'm not blaming Joe Flacco either. I'm not. There's only one person I am blaming. He's the reason we drafted Johnny Manziel. He's the
Oh,
reason.
come on. Okay, come on. You can't blame Jimmy Haslam.
100%.
Jimmy Haslam. If it was Jimmy Haslam's choice, you know who would be starting week 1? Shador Sanders. Instead, he's out here getting backup practice squad time.
This is Jimmy Haslam's fault. 100%.
If this was Jimmy's call, Josh Shador would be starting week 1.
I'm not blaming Stefanski at all. No, I am.
How can you not blame Stefanski when he's 3-16 in their last 19 games? I don't care that Kevin Stefanski's a 2-time coach of the year. He's only had 2 winning seasons in 5 years, and one of them was because Joe Flacco came off the bench in a miraculous fashion. And then, by the way, got blown out by CJ Stroud, who after that game with the Texans has never been the same quarterback.
You're right. Well, no, it was more so after the Ravens game that he was never the same quarterback, but I get what you're saying. No, I understand that, but you realize that if we fire Stefanski, some team's going to scoop him up in a heartbeat.
That's what you guys say, and you know what? He might be successful, but he might not. And they said the same thing about Frank Reich when the Colts fired him, and guess what? He goes to Carolina, and he's out within a year.
And I'm tired of all this. Oh, if we had kept Baker Mayfield, maybe he could have turned into this.
That's irrelevant. That's loser talk. No one cares. You know what you care about right now? This football team's a disaster. I told you this on our prediction show, and I don't mean to scream at you, and I don't mean to get upset, but it pissed me off. The fact that if Deshaun Watson is out here practicing and getting ready to play this year, this whole regime needs to be fired. Stefanski, Barry, clean the freaking house. I don't care what anybody says. That is truly what this Browns organization needs. They need to move forward with a new general manager, a new coach, a new quarterback, and give the fans something to cheer about, because Myles Garrett is looking at his bank account right now going, oh, well, I got paid $3 million for that game because I'm making $40 million a year. Hey, I could lose 40-17.
Yeah, it was 41-17, actually.
Okay. So quickly, because I went on a tangent, I'm going to give you my 2 other takeaways. Because one of them
Brady. Go ahead.
Well, one of them was backup quarterback, kickers win games. The second one was Joe Flacco not the answer for the Browns to waste time.
No, I never thought he would be. I want Dylan Gabriel to start this game against the Packers. I
don't even want Dylan Gabriel to start. You know who I want to start.
Yeah. No, I know you want Shador, and I imagine at some point he will, but I know it was in mop-up role, but when Dylan Gabriel came in, he actually, led the offense, and we looked good.
Well, he actually threw the ball down the field. Okay, takeaway number 3. Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. needs to be... Let's see. John stopped getting massage from his girlfriend when the Browns go. Okay, I'm not going to comment on that. I'm going to talk about Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. because he should not be allowed to be in the Fox broadcast booth anymore. Not only is he basically an assistant head coach of the Raiders, call it what you want, he's a minority owner, but he's more involved as a minority owner than I've ever seen any minority owner involved in my life. And number 2, how can he go on the herd and swear like a drunken sailor and be so animated and be so good when he talks about football, and then he comes on the broadcast booth and he sounds like Bill Belichick in a meeting room?
And here's my other thing, is who's the week 4 opponent for the Raiders? Oh, that's right, the Chicago Bears. And guess what game Brady is calling this week? Cowboys at Bears. Coincidence? I think not.
It's actually a joke. Again, Fox paid Brady all that money. I get it. They don't want to move off his contract, but They screwed Greg Olsen. Everybody acknowledges it and everybody knows it. And I had so I owed for Brady the way he sounded when he was on these like I said before, he is so good on these pregame shows or these radio talk shows breaking down stuff. Why can he not do it in the booth? And my takeaway is because he's not allowed to, because he's the minority owner of the freaking Raiders.
I actually like him in the booth, but I wish
what does he bring to the booth? That's my question. Because he brings absolutely nothing to me. He doesn't excite me. He doesn't give you any inside baseball about football. The best performance he had was the Lions game in the divisional round last year against the Commanders. I thought he was on top of it. I thought he was fantastic that game. He hasn't done anything remotely close before or since.
I personally enjoyed his broadcasting style, though I understand where your issues are coming from with him. I totally understand that, and I'm not going to disagree with that either. My problem with him is the fact that, like, he's the minority owner for the Raiders, and instead of, giving him hard no's, you can't do this, you can't do that, it seems like the league is relaxing on what he's allowed to do and what he's not allowed to do as a broadcaster. Like, no. With the Bears being the Raiders' week 4 opponent, he should not be on the call for this game. No.
Well, we'll see if it helps out, because clearly whatever he was doing last night did not help Geno Smith.
No, and he's now going to play in like some flat, like other football league or something.
Well, it's going to be the flag football league in Saudi Arabia as a part of Riyadh season, but let's not go there.
And the NFL is not happy about it.
So my other takeaway, and this sort of ties into our next topic, is where do we in this NFL season so far? I think most of the good teams we thought are good. Most of the bad teams we thought were bad are bad. The two biggest surprises to me, it's not even the Chiefs being 0-2 because of the two tough games of their schedule, is the Colts, number one, are better than I thought. And again, I thought they were going to be better than you. You thought they were going to be in number one pick territory, and here they are at 2-0. And I think they got a real chance to win that AFC South division at this point. And the Bears on the other end of the spectrum are the same as they were last year. This is their season this Sunday against the Dallas Cowboys. I'm here to say this, if they lose this game this Sunday against the Dallas Cowboys at home and fall to 0-3, next season, Caleb Williams will not be their starting quarterback. This is it. Will the Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams marriage will either be reconciled this Sunday or it will be a divorce?
Yeah. Green Bay being 2-0 does not surprise me in the slightest. They're probably the best team in the AFC, in the NFL right now. The Jets being 0-2 does surprise me a little bit, though. I thought with Justin Fields, I thought they could steal the first game against Pittsburgh. I thought they could potentially win that second game against Buffalo, especially because of what you mentioned earlier about the Ravens, but the opposite side of it, where the Bills are coming off of this emotional high. They have this miraculous comeback, and now they got to play a division opponent in the Jets.
Yeah, and the way the Jets played in week 1, like, I thought that line of 6.5 was about right. That game was over in 5 minutes.
Yeah, and so that's why it's surprising for me that the Jets are 0-2, because I thought their first 2 games were very winnable for them. I really did. It'll be interesting to see how they do this Sunday. I forget who they're playing.
They are at Tampa.
Oh, that's going to be a very interesting game. I wish Justin Fields was playing in that game, but he will most likely not.
So there's 10 2-0 teams and there's 10 0-2 teams. The 2-0 teams are Buffalo, Chargers, Cincinnati, Indy, Philly, San Francisco, Arizona, the Rams, Green Bay, and Tampa.
I would say my most surprising 2-0 team is Arizona.
Not for me, because their first two games were the Saints and the Panthers. So they literally tried to give the game away to the Carolina Panthers, and I had Arizona -6.5. And if the Browns did not just flat out not cover against the Ravens, I would have been so pissed off at the Cardinals today. It wouldn't even have been funny. They were up 27-3 in the fourth quarter of that game, and they literally let the Panthers come back. The Panthers got an onside kick.
Yeah, they did. You're right. But I wasn't expecting much from Kyler. I told you my biggest thing with the Cardinals was, could Kyler and Marvin Harrison Jr. get on the same page?
And they're not even that. But how about this? They get Mac Jones this week. I mean, he looked good against the Saints, but it is the Saints. Arizona's got a real shot to start 3-0.
Yeah, but I hate to say this, but I wouldn't dismiss the 49ers, to still come out and win this division.
Well, here's the thing. They're already hurt. Kittle's hurt. Purdy's hurt. And McCaffrey, I think, is going to eventually get hurt. And even though they did beat the Saints and they did beat the Seahawks, that Saints game was close. They looked like they belonged on the field with the Saints. They should have blown them out if they were that team, in my opinion.
Seattle should have won that game in week 1 against them.
Yeah, and Seattle, despite being 1-1, I mean, that game against Pittsburgh was weird, but they played better. You may be right on Seattle. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like you said in our NFL predictions, they're one of those teams that could win 6 games. They're one of those teams that could win 10 games.
Yeah. But outside of Kansas City, the most surprising 0-2 team, I was going to say Dallas if Russell Wilson didn't throw that stupid interception.
So real quick, the teams are Dolphins, Jets, Chiefs, Browns, Titans, Texans, Giants, Bears, Saints, Panthers.
Okay, so my most surprising 2-0 team is Arizona. Most surprising 0-2 team, I would either go with the Jets, or again, because of what I said earlier, or, oh boy. Now I can't say the Bears because it's the Bears. Why should I be surprised with them? Why?
Because I try to talk you into the Bears every year, because every year it should be their year. By the way, Colston Loveland, this is the mystery to me. The tight end they drove down to Michigan, he barely played. He had like 2 plays on Sunday.
And I can't be surprised. I can't even be surprised about the Dolphins, honestly, because we both said they were going to be a dumpster fire.
And Houston to me is not surprising because their first two games were the Rams and the Bucs. And those are 2 losable games for them because they don't have an offensive line.
Yeah, I agree with you. The least surprising 0-2 team are the Cleveland Browns. They are.
Yeah. No doubt about it.